Friday, September 26, 1913.
Our last installment was given in answer to a request by one of our band that we should try to impress you in a rather deeper kind of way than heretofore, but we were only able to begin, as it were, and not to complete our explanation. If you wish it therefore, we will continue the subject now.
Thank you, yes.
Then you must, for a moment, try to think with us as from our side the veil. Things, you must understand, take on a very different aspect here from what they did as viewed from the earth plane, and an aspect, I fear, which to those still on earth will, in many cases at least, wear a semblance of unreality and romance. And the least things here are fraught with so much wonder to those who are newly come over that until they have divested themselves of the habit of thinking in three-dimensional terms, they are unable to progress very far. And that, believe me, is a matter of no little difficulty. Now, the term vibrations is one which will have to serve, but it is far from adequate as understood of things material. For such vibrations as those of which we speak are not merely mechanical in movement and quality, but have an essence of vitality in themselves, and it is by that vitality that we are able to appropriate and use them. That is the connecting link between our wills and the outward manifestation in vibrations, for that is really all that these are. They are just phenomena of the deeper life which envelops us and all things. By them, as raw material, we are able to accomplish things, and build up things which have a durability which the term itself would seem to belie. For instance, it is by this method that the bridge over the chasm between the spheres of light and darkness is constructed, and that bridge is not all of one color. On the farther side it is shrouded in darkness and, as it gradually emerges into, or towards, the region of light, it assumes an ever brighter hue and, where it lands on the heights where begin the brighter lands, it is of pink hue and glistens in the light enveloping it like some rare kind of silver, or alabaster rather. Yes, of course there is a bridge over the chasm. Otherwise how would those who have fought their way upward through the gloom get over? True, and I had forgotten it, there are some who do proceed through the awful realm of darkness, and climb up the regions on this side the chasm. But these are few, and they are those obstinate ones who reject the help and guidance of those guardians of the way who are stationed on the farther side, to show those who are qualified, the way across. Also, you must know, those guardians are only visible to those poor people, in proportion to the light that has been generated in their hearts, and so a certain amount of trust is needed if they would commit themselves to their keeping. This trust also is the outcome of a better mind by which they have become, in a measure, able to discern between light and darkness. Well, the complications of the human spirit are manifold and perplexing, and so let us get on to something easier of putting into words. I have called this a bridge, but I ought to have referred you to the passage, "The light of the body is thine eye." Read that in this connection, and you will see that it bears on the case, not only of those on earth but those here also. I have called this a bridge, but, as a matter of fact, it has little likeness to a bridge, on earth. For these regions are vast, and the bridge is more like a tract of country than anything else I can think of to call it to you. And remember I have only seen but a small part of these spheres, and so just tell you of that part which I know. Doubtless there are other chasms and bridges, probably numbers of them. Across the ridge, or bridge, then, those who seek the light make their journey, and that journey is but slow, and there are many rest houses at which they stay, from time to time, on their progress across, and are handed on from one to another party of angel ministers, until the last stage lands them here on this side. Our work in the house, or colony, to which I now belong, is also directed to these progressive spirits, as well as to those on earth. But that is a different department from mine at present. I have not yet got that far in my study. For it is more difficult, because the influences around those in the darkness here are much more evil than the influences on earth, where good influences are ever mingling with the bad. It is only when careless and wicked people get over here that they realize the awful task before them, and that is why so many of them remain for ages in a condition of hopelessness and despair. When they are safely over the bridge they are welcomed by those on the slopes where grass and trees grow, and they are just stupefied with delight, in spite of the gradualness of their preparation. For they have not yet become used to love and its sweetness after their experience of the opposite down there. I said this bridge landed on the heights, I speak comparatively. The landing place is highland as compared with those regions of darkness below. But, as a matter of fact, it is lowland, and the lowest land indeed, of the heavenly country. You are thinking of the great gulf, or chasm, fixed, of the parable. That is all quite in accord with what I have written, and you have already had this explained to you elsewhere. Also, the reason why these who come over do so instead of attaining this side by aerial travel, or flight, as you would perhaps call it, is because they are not able to make the journey so on account of their weakness spiritually. If they were to attempt it, they would only fall into the dark valley, and then lose their way. I have not been far into those dark regions, but I have been a little way, and the misery I saw was quite enough to suffice for some time to come. When I have progressed in my present work, and have for some time helped those poor souls from the vantage point of this house, I may be permitted, and probably shall be, to go farther among them. But that is not yet. One thing more I may say, for it is time that you should cease. When they break away, and come to the other end of the bridge, I am told that the noises which are heard from behind them are horrible, and dull red flashes of fire are seen. How that is caused I am not able clearly to state, but we are told that both the yells and screeches and howls, and also the flashes, are made by those left behind who are enraged because of their powerlessness to recapture the fugitive, or to hold him as he is slipping away, for evil is ever powerless against good, be the good ever so small in amount. But I must not pursue this farther now, and what I am now saying is not what I have myself seen, but hearsay, that is, it is given to you at second hand, but it is true, nevertheless. Good night then, dear son, and may the All-Father shed his light and peace on you and yours. In his light shall you see light, and the shining of that light is of the peaceful overbreaking dawn.